What's going on out there, yo? I'm back with another quick volume of Welcome to the Franchise. Just here to talk a little bit about the NFL free agency that's about to be coming up. Some trades that it look like might happen in certain fits. So I just want to tap into that, and some trades that actually did happen as well. So let me get straight into it here with this one. So free agency starts next week. And it looks like, it's starting to bubble up a little bit. That wave is starting to build. And we want to see who's going to go with who, or, who's going to get traded here or there. Right now, you can see a couple deals that have really kicked this shit off a bit. Saquon Barkley. We'll start there. Saquon Barkley got his extension, as he fucking should. You know what I mean? Got the guaranteed money as well. So you love to see it. Especially after a big year that he's had, a record-setting year, great impact, great influence on the team and in the games throughout the whole season, and especially coming off of a championship. Big championship year, and definitely coming out of his situation from being let go from the Giants. And we already know the story there with the previous season before, where he was up to get paid. They probably should have gave him that deal. They gave a bigger deal to, as we know, Daniel Jones. Didn't want to sign him. Honestly, I think if they would have did that vice versa in reverse, it would have helped Daniel Jones, or at least helped that franchise to be in a position where you still have some playmakers, especially a great running back to support if you got to bring in a new quarterback. But, that's all dead now. That's all in the past. That shit doesn't even matter anymore. It's about Saquon coming off his championship with the rival Eagles, as he fucking should get his deal and everything like that, get his championship. So you let us see it, and it's a good look. And on the same topic here, right, I ain't going to let motherfuckers forget neither. I'm not going to let motherfuckers forget, because there was a time after a couple injuries, I get it, the ACL, ankle problems, right? After a couple injuries, while the Giants was trash, it's not like even when he was out, they were building up the roster offensively to make shit even better, especially with the quarterback that you wanted to keep in Daniel Jones, right? It was niggas that was saying that they don't know if Saquon could be a winning running back with his play style and with the injuries and everything that he went through. They don't think he's the type of running back that is going to help win a championship. I won't let niggas forget that shit. Motherfuckers was talking about that shit, and I get it. It's because of the Giants. But then we're putting a little bit of, not blame, but we're putting a little bit of, you know what I'm saying, that vibe on Saquon. Like, I don't think he's a winning running back with his play style and the injuries, and then saying all type of shit. Also saying that, it might have been a mistake drafting him at number 2. It might have been a mistake drafting him at number 2. What? Then saying shit like, he's not as complete as a running back, and his hands is type suspect, and he ain't on Christian McCaffrey's level, because Christian McCaffrey could do it all. He can handle the load. Doesn't get he doesn't get hurt as much, and he's got better hands. He receives out of backfield, and I'm like, what the fuck is these niggas smoking? What these niggas watching? First of all, even when Christian McCaffrey was with Carolina, he was their whole offense. He could catch, he could run, he could block, he could play receiver, he could come out the slot, keep running, all that, whatever. He was getting hurt a lot of times too. Let's not forget that shit. And I don't take nothing away from Christian McCaffrey and everything, but let's not forget, before he got flipped to the 49ers, he was getting hurt a lot too. He was here and there in games. He played some full season, but then he started getting hurt because he was the whole offense. You know what I mean? And motherfuckers are trying to be like, Christian McCaffrey better than Saquon Barkley. Christian McCaffrey's the number 1 running back in the league. Don't get me wrong, Christian McCaffrey is definitely top 3 running backs in the league in the last few years. Me, I guess maybe because I'm biased, and also I seen, I enjoyed watching and seeing Saquon play when he was in college. I'm like, nah, this is the best running back. This is the best running back I've seen with my own eyes in a while, hands down. So maybe I'm a little biased fan-wise, and I just think that I always thought Saquon was better overall, because I seen that Saquon could run, he could jump over niggas, he could run over niggas, he could make motherfuckers miss, he'll juke motherfuckers out of the frame, put niggas in a mix, and, snatch ankles, and he can catch the ball. And he will go on the wheel route up top on you and catch it for a touchdown. And he can come out from the wide receiver spot, slot or the outside and receive. I saw all of that from Penn State to the early days in the Giants. So when motherfuckers talk about, oh yeah, his hands ain't, yeah, he probably had a couple drops that he shouldn't have had in a few games here and there. But they act like he could. They act like he was a nigga, like he was Derrick Henry or some shit. Like he really couldn't catch and do nothing with it. And they be like, yeah, his hands might be suspect. Now, did Christian McCaffrey probably have better hands than him in more games? Yeah, I mean, I'll say that. But I always thought that overall, that Saquon was a better running back. Like I said, this is me being biased as a fan. But at the same time, now we see it. It's well-deserved. He got the deal that shows it. He the best running back in the league. Mind you, he the running back that got the chip. Christian McCaffrey, you had what? You had basically 3 opportunities with the Niners. You was in the Super Bowl twice with them, and then you had a chance in conference championship games and shit. You know, did he win a Super Bowl? No, and I get it. It's a whole team game. Running back is a very dependent position and everything like that. So I get all that. And that's a little bit unfair, but nah, I'm gonna talk that shit because, like I said, I'm not gonna let motherfuckers forget. Some years back when he was on the Giants and he came back from injury and all that shit, niggas was talking about, yeah, Saquon ain't like that though. I don't put him up there as the elite top running backs in the league or better than McCaffrey. And now look, so it's well deserved. I'm glad he got his bag and glad he got the deal, and I'm especially glad that he really showed through a full season healthily all the things he could do. Running the ball, catching the ball, making dynamic plays, doing crazy shit. Like, I seen Christian McCaffrey do crazy shit too. You know what I mean? Like, juke people out, spring off big runs, make great catches. But the shit that I seen Saquon do on the field, I'm not just talking about stats. That's not what this is all about here when I talk here on these volumes. I'm not just talking about, what the numbers. I'm talking about when I seen on TV, on the field, what he do. Christian McCaffrey ain't doing no shit like this. He ain't jumping over niggas and spin jumping over niggas and snatching ankles and putting niggas on a mixtape. He ain't doing this. So it's well deserved, and I'm glad to see it. Now, next to follow this topic, we got some players requesting trades and, getting cut before free agency starts back up and everything. Couple receivers, DK Metcalf now, requesting a trade from the Seahawks, as he wants some type of guaranteed deal and everything. But I think it's smart for him. He probably just wants to be in another situation because, football players could see, especially those that want to compete. It doesn't look like we're that close as we were in times before to really compete for a championship. And then Davante Adams, he just got released by the Jets. Good for him. Good for the both of them. Saves money for the Jets, but at least he's the fuck out of there with the Jets. And now he could start looking like a real receiver that could contribute on a real team again. Because he contributed there. He contributed for 2 teams this year. He still has some good numbers, but it's like, let's see him really back on the team again, where it's like, yo, we got to see this motherfucker play in January and December in meaningful games here. So what DK Metcalf, you're hearing, with the both of them, this is what you're hearing. With DK Metcalf, you're hearing a lot of, rumors like maybe the Chargers, Cowboys, or the Raiders is where he should probably be traded to. Excuse me. And then as far as for DAVANTE, you're hearing the same thing with the Chargers for him. The Packers or the Rams is where he probably should sign, or the team that should be going for him. I'm going to keep it a buck here and just get straight to it with the best fits for the both of them. I think I had brought this up before in a previous volume, way before during the season, I think, or during late in the season for DK. I think the best fit for him, I think if the Bills miss out on getting that big trade, on the big swing from Myles Garrett, then you got to get DK. I think DK Metcalf fits that roster very well, especially with a big body. He's strong and everything, can run after the catch still a little bit, break some tackles. I think in the later parts of the season and competing in the playoffs, I think a role for him on that Bills offense and with that roster is going to be a perfect fit for him there. So I think DK to the Bills is a trade that needs to happen if they don't pull off that Myles Garrett trade, which I think is going to take a lot of pieces for them. So I don't know if they pull off both, unless DK just straight up gets cut if they can't find a trade for him, because these things do happen in the NFL. It's not like the NBA. If a trade doesn't happen, they just cut a play and he could sign somewhere. So I think that would be a good look. Maybe the Texans also, if they want to do two of the similar receiver spots where you have Nico Collins, big body, can get open and run after the catch, and then another big body on the other side, and then just, some of the other guys they already got on the roster to interchange in the slot, since Tank Dell is going to be down for a minute, sitting for a minute, or you do both of them and draft a receiver like Emeka Egbuka, who has a good rapport already with your quarterback, C.J. Stroud, in the slot. That wouldn't be a bad look for a big playoff push next year, definitely in the next, 2 to 4 year span. That would be a good look for them. For DAVANTE, with the Packers one, I kind of agree with that. I think it only makes sense because they don't have a true number one there, a true alpha that's really going to establish, like, yo, I'm the reliable option and target every single time, every single down here. A guy like Dontavian Wicks playing there, he kind of was coming on like that. Dobbs and Watson, they just get hurt too much for me. So I think the Packers would kind of be a good look, but would they want him back? Would he want to go back? That's the only question there. It wouldn't be a bad look, but other than that, to me, I think that the best fit for him, or the top choice, should be for him if nobody else really wants him, if he doesn't go to somewhere like the Rams, because he's definitely not going back to the Raiders, even if Aaron Rodgers goes there. The Niners wouldn't be a bad look, because what the fuck they going to do at receiver? Brandon Ayuk's injury, all of the details around it, it sounds really bad. I'm not saying he can't bounce back, but it's going to be a little minute, right? So you got to wait for him to come back. Other than that, okay, you got rid of Debo, and then it's Jennings and Pearsall. Now, Jennings, he coming on strong. I like him. He's a really good, solid number two. They don't really, in that offense, they don't really need a bona fide number one that's going to take over the whole game, which at this level of DAVANTE's career, he doesn't need to do that either. So I think the Niners would be a good fit because you got Jennings there, and then you could put DAVANTE as your number two, or interchange whatever the roles or the scheme and the play calling between number two and number one with him and Jennings, because they're both big bodies. But DAVANTE has a little bit more of a good craft in getting open and getting off the line with his routes, right? And then you have the young boy Ricky Pearsall as he starts coming on and learning the nuances and everything of the game in the NFL, as he gets more time healthily to get on the field. Put him in the slot because Debo's not going to be there. So I think that will be a good look as well. Following that, also, you got Brock Purdy, who looking like he's going to get his deal. It looks like, they're going to have to give him that $45 million plus. Shit, I mean, for a nigga like him, I don't know, but hey, that's their guy. They seen him come up through the system. He's earned it with them, with that team, within that system. So we'll see. It wouldn't be a bad look for them. They got to secure the QB spot as everybody else does. And then Joey Bosa just got clipped from the Chargers. Could it be a Bosa brother link up in San Francisco? Shit, we'll see. I know it could look good for them in this all season, depending on how they want to approach it for another push to get into the Super Bowl again. And everything. So we'll see with that. I just know that they better not, because I seen somebody say something like that, like TYREEK Hill. They should try and trade for TYREEK Hill. No, don't do that shit. That's not going to be a good look right there. And then you got Kansas City, who's gearing up to, have a free agency. It looks like they might low-key be gearing up to steal a guy like Ronnie Stanley from the Ravens at offensive tackle, because they just traded away Joe Thuney to the Bears. And who the Bears, they've been making a couple moves as well to shore up their offensive line for Caleb Williams. They got Jonah Jackson, and they got, like I said, Joe Thuney went to KC. Good look for Ben Johnson, as he has an offensive line to operate for his offense. Let's see what Caleb Williams does with this, if he's protected, and if he could actually be, a good to really good quarterback in his career here. So that's a good look to always protect in between, in the guard area and the A gaps there for a quarterback, especially when they're trying to develop. But back to the Chiefs here, it looks like they may be gearing up for a sneaky move to steal away someone like Ronnie Stanley after getting rid of Joe Tooney, who played offensive tackle for them. And the Ravens, I'll say this real quick, the Ravens, they need to do anything they can to keep him. I don't know if their cap situation looks ideal to do that, but they should still do anything they can to keep him, and definitely not let him get to KC, who you still got to get over the hump against. But I know Kansas City is going to be gearing up also in the draft at that position to get some more to protect Mahomes, because everyone now has the blueprint on how to really punch them in the mouth and really beat them and dominate them to win playoff games against them or winning the championship game against them if they get back to the Super Bowl. So they also go for someone later in the draft at their pick, like a Josh Connerly out of Oregon, or the dude Ariante Ursary, I think Minnesota, Arizona State, something like that. So, but I just know they're probably going to be looking at one of those guys, or Josh Simmons out of Ohio State on the offensive line, even if they do sign someone like Ronnie Stanley or trade for someone else as well. And I see them keeping their guard Smith on the team. That would be a smart look to keep him around and not get rid of him. They're definitely going to have to, too, because with the all-season wave, the all-season free agency wave that's about to kick off, it looks like it's already getting crazy. They're going to need to shore up that offensive line for sure, because it looked like Crosby just got read up with a big deal, and he got the bag. And who knows, the Raiders might do some more on the defensive line, on the whole roster to compete. So we'll see. It should be interesting. But right now, it's going to wrap this quick volume up. Welcome to the franchise for me. Y'all out there, be easy.